Hey, this is Christian D. Evans coming at you. And today is November, a few days right before Thanksgiving of 2022. And one of the things I want to share with you real quick is there's been a lot that's going on, and I really want to just build the foundation a little bit. So, what's so interesting right now is these last few months, it's been an evolution of podcasting, etc., which reminds me I need to do that. But one of the things I've realized is Kevin Peterson. From my network, I was able to introduce him to someone that was on the Impro's team, and we've got direct connection with investing into SpaceX in a secondary position, which is really good, raising some capital. And I basically explained, Kevin, I said, I know that this is not with our thesis. I know that's not at all our investment thesis. However, it is an anchor. It is an opportunity to use that as the hook to attract people into our ecosystem, right? Because what I'm noticing is a lot of private equity and VCs, they all have their own little ecosystems of investors, but they're not willing to share. And I started realizing that, okay, you know what? How can we harness those ecosystems? Right? Because each one of them have access to 1,000, 2,000, whatever. And it's like, well, what can we do? How can we do this? So very simply, what I've realized is I've built the last 3 months of connections, October, November, December here, of family offices, wealth managers, investors, direct investors, PE and VC firms. And what I started realizing was like, okay, you know what? What I can do, very simply, is harness this somehow and say, okay, you know what? We've got this amazing opportunity, and I'll be glad to give this opportunity to your investor base and do some sort of kickback. Plus, I would love to open up my investor base and ecosystem to help you raise whatever you need to do and have a, kind of collaborative opportunity. And want to have that conversation a little bit and that dialogue and see how we can, go from there. And appreciate being on our podcast. Now, what's so nice is that I already know that they know, like, and trust me, and they will respond back to you, but you cannot come in as a pitch. I want to make sure I'm posturing it, but I don't want to posture it too much because they are my friends. Does that make sense? So I don't want to come across real aggressive. I want to come across as very, hey, I just want to let you know we got some very exciting news. We just recently, and I don't want to try to sell them too much on this. I just want, hey, we've got SpaceX. I noticed a lot of our investors and family offices we work with directly are very excited about this opportunity. I wanted to obviously, share this with your ecosystem as well. I do also know that you're raising capital for a certain fund. I'd love to see how we can connect and collaborate a little bit further and definitely build some good synergies in this regard. And I guess that's really what it comes down to. I don't, and what I realized is, one, I could do 1v1 because at the end of the day, if we want to raise $500 million, $500 million, that's 2,000 individuals, 2,000 either family offices or investors or PE firm, whatever, giving $250,000, which in all essence is not that much. That's not that much, because what's so interesting to me is holistically 2,000 people. Well, if you had inbound leads coming in constantly, people already knowing you, and the thing is you're able to leverage other people's ecosystems, I know there's a massive opportunity with that, but how do you harness that? And what I've noticed is if you get the deal, like B2B enterprise SaaS, $1 million, they don't know about the company. And that's one of the reasons why I looked at like SpaceX. And I've talked about this before because that right there is the hook. They're already familiar with it. They already have that know, like, and trust. They already know it's Elon Musk. It's boom, Starlink, wonderful. And there's just a few other things that I could add in there and say, oh, this is how it's structured. Boom, rock and roll. Why do you structure it that way? Again, the reason why I'm saying this is because, see, we're going to hook them, and that's kind of the sweetener. Allow us to get into that ecosystem, giving this offer, and then obviously upsell them on the back end. But I also understand once they have, and then the way we're structuring this is $100,000 for a holding co, 100,000 holding co common stock, wonderful, to get access to what we have, which is of course SpaceX, and then you can deploy however much capital you want in that. Simple, right? Why are we doing this? Well, it's very simple. It's just streamlining the whole process, keeping it simple. But I think that's one of the reasons why I think it's so important. I was just thinking about this. I have enough data over here, and it's a little freaky because I've been thinking, I've been dreaming, I've been visualizing, I've been, having that energy, that charisma, that confidence, and saying, okay, you know what? I know I can raise 100 million. I know I can raise 200 million. I know I can raise 300 million. Like I know deep down every fiber of my being. But what's interesting is actually doing it. And I want to make sure that I don't copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, all that stuff. Because I realize it does not work. And you need to be these are relationships. These are high caliber people. They want to respect it. They want to be respected. They want to have this. They don't just be like regurgitated, right? They can they can tell, right? When that's like comes across like that. But if it comes out of good heart and saying, hey, just want to give you an update. We're very excited about giving you this update, blah, 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 etc. Like come across as like an email. You're not going to try to pitch them. And it's just, hey, we just recently, boom, I'm very excited. There's some really cool stuff going on. We've noticed huge trajectory, $1 trillion 2024, projections, and we're headed in the right direction, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I want to just share with you, we pushed this out to our current ecosystem of investors and family offices, and they were pumped up and jumped out on the opportunity. And I know we had you on our podcast, and I wanted to just add value in any way that I could, and I wanted to bring this opportunity to your ecosystem of investors. Love to connect, collaborate, and maybe I could even harness some of my ecosystem investors to help you raise some capital, whatever, right? And that's, I guess that's the way to structure it. It's a, hey, feel free to below here is my calendar link if you'd like to jump on and talk a little bit, and then just ping them. But you come across as very organic, very natural, very conversational. And anyways, I just wanted to share that because what's so nice is we're building the foundation. Kevin Peterson's humble enough to do this and implement this. And then what's also happening is the TEDx talk is going to explode. What I'm doing, and this is one of the things I've discovered, you never want to dilute your focus. So if you're going to focus on one thing, focus on that and promote the crap out of it. I literally had a lot of founders, a lot of people on my podcast that have published books and so forth, and they were saying you have to be the one. Like it doesn't matter if you work with a publisher, it doesn't matter, nobody's going to market your book as well as you're going to market your book. Now what's nice about the title of my book is, one, I understand a lot of publishers will not actually keep that title. They won't want it. It's just too controversial, whatever. Me, I'm going to. Why? Because I understand marketing and I understand that it's going to be a really good hook and it's going to be really solid. What's interesting, and this is where it gets me kind of excited, is I was trying to think of like distribution. And I started realizing that it's not like, and this is the way to think about it, it's not like Q1, all I do is podcast and then boom, and then do a big push and then that's it. No, you're constantly promoting your book for a whole 12, 18 months. That's how you become number one. You're constantly going out there and just kicking butt. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and spend about $400 in watch hours on the TEDx talk. Allow that to get almost 50, 80, 90, 100,000 views. That will organically really start really just cranking things in. I'm going to push that out to my ecosystem, allowing them to consume that content, which is going to be fantastic. Then what's going to happen is as that's pushing, that is an asset that consistently pays.